Get your money, don't care who judge. Stay out the way, surround yourself with nothing but love. Stay out the way, if you a gangster, killer or thug. Stay out the way, put your faith in the man above. Stay out the way, chill with your family, siblings and blood. Stay out the way, kick it with your girl, forget hit in the club. Stay out the way, mind on your money, ain't no switching it up. Stay out the way, stand out the way, what you thought that it was. Stay out the way. If you stuck down on your luck, not feeling righteous, did a petty crime, just looking for some excitement. Now your name on affidavits and court indictments, get paid for a lot, but your freedom is priceless. You did the crime, you do the time, don't let it surprise you. Real stories from the heart, just to open your eyes up.
Yo, what's good, y'all? What's the word? What's going on? How everybody doing out there? Y'all already know what it is. We are back again, and it's time for the Tuesday Banger. It's time for the Tuesday Banger, y'all. That's a lot. It's time for the Tuesday Banger, and I got one. I keep a banger at all times. But like I always say before I start these videos off, man, I have no problem delivering this content to everybody that's out here working hard, working a 9 to 5, everybody that's out here with their own business, getting to that bag the legit way. I make sure y'all got something to watch in the morning times, and I promise y'all it's no problem on my end. I also have no problem making sure I'm warning y'all and telling y'all about how dangerous prison is. I only got to one thing in the process, and that's for y'all just stay out the way out here, man. That's it, man. Stay out the way, man. Live a great life. When you out here and not in prison or not in jail, that is a great life, man. I don't know if y'all know that yet, man. Everybody that's out here breaking the law, I'm pretty sure everybody that's breaking the law, they know what the other side of the coin is, man. So they willing to take that risk. But at the end of the day, man, your life is over with once you go into those cages, man. It's like you're nobody again. It's like you turn into a nobody out of nowhere, man. And if you want your life to be like that, keep doing crime and find out what it's going to be in a while, man. You're going to have to answer for your stuff sooner or later, man. That's just how it go. Everybody that y'all see on this YouTube telling stories, all us been to prison and learned our lesson. I'm letting you know now, we don't want to see that from people that we know. And we letting y'all know now, we don't want to see that from y'all. I don't want to see y'all go through what I've been through, man. So turn your life around if you can, man. Do the right thing, man. If not for yourself, for your family, because they the ones that need y'all. They the ones that need you out here, man. Like, if you think about it, these are the people that need you out here, man, your family, man. So think about them if you don't want to put yourself first, man. And just stay out the way, y'all. Period. But y'all already know what it is, man. This is the Tuesday Banger Game. So what did y'all do with this one? Like, share, subscribe, so y'all. Let's go. What? It's time for business. It's time for business, y'all. And the story I got for y'all today is called, we went from a pup to big homie. Part 1. Crazy story, crazy situation, but we are aware, people. We are in penitentiary, man, where crazy things happen all the time, man. I'm telling y'all, man, like, penitentiary is crazy. Like, you will see stuff like this, man. Like what I'm about to talk about in this story. You will see somebody go from nothing to something, man. It's like, it don't always got to be about strength. It don't always have to be about you the toughest. It don't always have to be that you grew up around the most wildest neighborhood or you came up from the most craziest city. It ain't about that, man, in penitentiary, man. Now, that gets you a long way when you in penitentiary, that you come from all those things that I just named. But at the end of the day, man, you can cut the line if you got certain other qualities, man. That's just how I go in there, man. Penitentiary is crazy and dangerous at the same time. So with that being said, though, we're going to start this one off on Susses 2, y'all. We on Susses 2. And I can remember being in 2C, man. I ain't gonna lie, like, there was a lot of stuff going on around this time, man. Like, different situations. Like, this is my second time back in 2C. And, like, for real, the pod has changed over. Like, everybody that was in there, was a few people that was in there that were still regulars, man. So I felt comfortable being back in 2C. But at the same time, though, man, there was a lot going on in Susses 2, man. The reason why I say that is because, like, the members had just started coming to the compound, man. Like, y'all have to understand that I'm coming from a state where it was no type of members. Red team, blue team, none of that. It wasn't none of that going on, man. I'm telling y'all, it was none of that going on at this particular moment, man. But you already know how it is, man. Stuff happens. So at this particular moment that I'm talking about, like, they starting to come into the prison like a lot. It's a lot of them, not the blue team, just the red team, basically. Like, it's just a lot of them, man. It was just too many to count. I ain't gonna lie. And before you knew it, you look up and there was a bunch of red teams in there, man. So, like, you know, I had to get used to being around these people, like seeing this type of stuff go on, the handshakes, the signs they throwing up, all of that. I had to get used to seeing all that. y'all gotta understand how to get used to seeing all that, because I wasn't used to this stuff, man. But at the end of the day, man, like, this is what's going on. And now that they have this going on the compound, man, and you know, when you got numbers on Penitentiary, man, people like to show off when they got numbers, man. So majority of everybody that was in the red team, man, used to kind of think that they was kind of better than everybody just because they had freaking 50 people that had their back. Now, with having 50 people have your back, you still had a bunch of civilian dudes that didn't really care about that. Like, you know, with the members and all that stuff coming into the prison, man, the red team and all that stuff, like, it was people that still didn't care. It was a lot of people that didn't care about that and still used to go at that stuff like they didn't care. But at the end of the day, with me being from Norfolk, it was like, it was a little different for me because I kind of knew people that was the red team. So it was like, I had to adapt and, like, you know, not saying I had to talk to these people, but like, I didn't want to turn my back on a lot of people that I grew up with, a lot of people that I knew from back in the day, a lot of people that I just knew from the jail, or a lot of people that I just knew for a little minute that they was the red team now. I didn't want to turn my back on them. Now, it's your life. You can do what you do, and it's your decisions. You can do what you do. But at the same time, though, man, this is not what I did, man. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I just kept it regular. I ain't gonna lie, man. So in 2C, like, it was a decent amount of red team members in there. It was a decent amount of red team members in there. It was a decent amount of Norfolk dudes in there. It was a decent amount of 804 Richmond dudes in there. The pod was decent. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. But the only thing that made it kind of crazy was that the red team kind of like used to have people that kind of like, they would do stuff to poke their chests out to show that, you know what I mean, who they are. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not calling them soft. I'm not calling them like people that just like kind of prey on the weak or nothing like that. But I did see that they never really pushed stuff at people that they knew was going to be major consequences from. Now, I have seen them get into people where it was major consequences from these other people. But like, just to push random stuff, you didn't see them doing it. And when I say pushing random stuff, I'm talking about like extortion. Now, the red team will use extortion just because they had a lot of numbers. Like, when you deep, it's a major intimidation factor. Like, for a guy that's scared that's in prison, that got a little change, and the red team pull up on you like, yo, look, we're gonna hold you down. You just gotta pay taxes. It goes from that to next thing you know, you're into the red team. And that's just how it go, man. Like, a lot of dudes be like, oh, I'm paying for these dudes to not rob me or whatever the case. And a lot of dudes just decide to get with the team. So the red team just used to recruit just so they can have major numbers. That's what I started seeing. Like, I'm picking up on a lot of this stuff as it's happening in front of my eyes. Like I told y'all, I just came to my state. So this was really new to me and a lot of people, man. So it was this one dude named Bull. Now, Bull was a cool dude, but like, at the end of the day, like, when I first met Bull, it was like Bull had problems with the red team. Now, Bull was from Tidewater. I'm not going to say what city he was from in the Tidewater area. He definitely was from the 757. But at the end of the day, you know, when you come in, man, like, sometimes, like, when you're from a place that don't got a lot of people that's going to really hold you down, or like just make sure you got a fair one, or make sure you straight, period. Like, a lot of times the red teams look at that, man, they use that for their advantage. Like, they're going to watch to see who you know. I be telling y'all that through stories. Like, people watch before they do. And like they see who you deal with. Like, they can see where you from, and they can see who you are kind of fast in there. Like, people in prison are trained to kind of like read people fast. That's why a lot of dudes that been locked up, like, they be saying like, yo, you know, I think I'm a good judge of character. You know what I mean? Because you had to go through so many maniacs in there. Like, out here, you're not going through like meeting a whole bunch of people all the time. And there, you meeting people from all over the state, all different times. Like, this is what goes on in there. So like, you got to learn to read people, man. You got to learn to go with your intuition and make sure it's good, because it can cost you in the end if you're not. You know what I mean? So like, I have learned to be on point, and I have learned to see what was going on. Now, I saw Bull. Like, when I first met Bull, I ain't even gonna lie, when Bull came into the pod, like, he was somebody that I thought was with the red team. And the reason why I say that is because he must have already been on the compound, because when he came in, he had his TV, all of that. Now, when I met Bull back then, Bull was like a skinny dude. He had the low cut, you know what I mean? He ain't had no tats, he ain't had none of that. But he was one of those dudes that kind of like, if it was about being down, like, I would say that about him, because like I say, I thought he was the red team the whole time he was in the block. So when I found out that Bull was in the red team, it was from his own mouth. And the reason why I started talking to Bull is because I ended up getting some work. When I ended up getting to work, the La basically, when I was in 2C, like, people was coming to holler at me. So when people were coming to score, like, I used to see dude, like, we ain't had no problem. Me and Bull, we never had a problem. Or any of the red team in there, we didn't have a problem. Like, one of the main dudes from Norfolk was my guy anyway, that was part of the red team. But like, me and Bull never really had conversations, man. But like, he came to score for me one day. And when he came to score for me one day, that's when me and him kind of had a conversation. So he came to my cell, he came to score. So when he came in, they grabbed from me in my cell. I'm in the cell putting it together for him. The CO came and they didn't even look and just locked the door. I had a trash can in my door. The CO came, poof, kicked the trash can out the door and locked bro in there. Now the CO that's working cool, he don't care who's in your cell or if this is the right cell or none of that. He just wanted the doors unjammed. He didn't want no doors jammed up. So bro got locked in the cell. So when he got locked in the cell, I was like, man, so we trying to get the door open. The lady like, no, I'm not opening no doors. The cell breaks. So I'm like, man, it's crazy. Like, I don't even deal with bro like this for him to be in my cell with the door closed anyway. So I'm just like, man, this joke crazy. So I didn't want to pull out my whole packing bag up in front of him. But still, though, I had to get a couple of other things done while he was in there. So he like, yo, my bad, bro. I'm like, yo, you good? He like, man, that joke crazy, though, man. I'm like, look. I said, man, look, tell one of your homies get you out. He was like, my homies. I'm like, yeah. He was like, I ain't part of the red team, Weezy. I was like, you ain't part of the red team? He was like, nah, I ain't part of the red team, man. He was like, for real, they just be rocking with me, man, cause you know what I mean? Like, they know my peoples and stuff, but like, for real though, man, like, I'm thinking about joining though, you know what I mean? I was like, you know, I wasn't really trying to, you know what I mean? I didn't care what he was gonna do. I'm like, for real, it's your life, basically. I wasn't sitting there and be like, yo, bro, why you wanna join it? Nah, I ain't say none of that. Bro said he might join the red team. Bro, it's your life, it's your prerogative, bro. Go join the red team, bro. So boom, go join, bro. That's what I like. That's what I'm saying in my mind. But basically, I'm just busy doing what I'm doing. And bro got locked in my cell. This was an awkward situation. So he just kept going. Like, you know, some people are getting around people, they feel like, yo, I can vent. And this person ain't gonna really tell my business. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, though, like, you in my cell, bro, like, you saying what you want, bro, that's on you. I ain't got nothing to do with that. So basically, he in there venting. He like, yeah, for real. They want me to be part of the crew so bad, though, man. He was like, man, because they know my homeboy on the street can get that work Weezy, man. So he was like, yeah, like, my homeboy can get whatever. Like, yeah, mostly the dog food, all these chicken, he can get all that. So I was like, for real? He was like, yeah. So he was like, that's why they really want me in the jank. And it made sense. Like, I know the dude from Norfolk. He would definitely want somebody like that on the crew. So, like, I just thought, I was like, yo, bro, the real talk. I really thought you was part of the red team the whole time you was on the block. He was like, nah, they just like running with me and stuff. They just like hanging with me and stuff, man. He was like, man, for real though, like, at the end of the day though, man, like, I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, I'm affiliated, like, you know what I mean? He was like, on the street, that's how I was too. I was affiliated on the street. Like, I wasn't part of, I was like affiliated. What you mean? He was like, you know, they got people that's just not with the team, but they with the team though. Like, you know what I mean? He was like, you know, I had family that was red team. So I used to run with the red team, this and that. So he started just telling me, like, you know what I mean, where he was from and all of that, how the red team jump formed out there. Because I was like, yo, in Norfolk, they said that jump spreading like wildfire, bro. And like, everybody red team now. He was like, bro, listen, bro. He was like, you couldn't go nowhere where he was from. He was like, bro, in Norfolk, that jump painted red. He was like, but you couldn't go nowhere where he was from and not be red team. He was like, yo, they just be wilding if you ain't red team. So he was like, he was affiliated. So I was like, what made you not join it on the street? He said, man, I didn't join it on the streets. I just felt like I didn't have to. He was like, you know, a lot of people be joining because they need backup. He was like, you know, I used to have this type of weapon on the street. He was talking about weapons and all of that. You know what I mean? So we just started kicking it for a minute. But they came out that bro was in the red team was different. I ain't even gonna lie, that was different. But that was the introduction of me and him becoming cool right there when he got locked in the room. So when cell break came, he ended up getting out. You know what I mean? He get out, I come out in the pod. Dude seemed like, yo, what bro? I was like, yeah, he got locked in the cell. So he started talking. I'm talking to my man. I'm like, yo, I thought bro was part of the red team. He like, nah, he ain't never part of the red team. Like, nah, he won't never part of the red team. So my other homeboy I told y'all is another dude from Norfolk. That's the red team member. So as we saying that, my man back is turned. So my other dude from Norfolk is walking up. But he's saying, nah, dude ain't part of the red team. So he him. And this one of the big dogs from Norfolk. You know what I mean? He walked up, he was like, we all talk about ain't part of the red team. So I'm kind of stuck like, oh, bro, caught us talking. I'm like, yo, this ain't Chris. I'm like, nah. I was like, nah, the dude Bull got locked in my cell. I thought he was part of the red team the whole time. He was like, oh, nah, he ain't part of the red team. He was like, well, nah, that's my little pup, though. He was like, nah, that's my little pup. I'm like, for real? Like, yeah. He was like, man, for real, you might as well say, you know what I mean? He just ain't get beat in yet, though, for real. He was like, but that's my little pup, though, basically, man. So, like, that was like some of the first times I heard dudes use the word pup. Now, the word pup is basically like somebody, if you bringing somebody home, like, I guess they got to go through pup stages, like being the little dog. Like, you know what I mean? Like, before you even think about anything else, like, you're a pup. You're just coming into the stuff, like, this is what it is. Like, I don't know if they doing like this in other states, but this is what my man was telling me. So, he like, yeah, he about to, you know what I mean? I was like, he my little pup, da-da-da-da. So I'm affiliated on Weezy, kind of just like how you affiliated. I was like, I ain't affiliated, bro. He was like, I mean, you know, you from Norfolk, you know all the dudes that's the red team in Norfolk, then like, you kind of affiliated because you rock with us. I'm like, bro, listen, I ain't got no problem with nobody, you know what I mean? But I was like, I'm not in nothing. You know what I mean? I made sure I let that be understood to bro, because, you know, I got a lot of respect for him, seeing how he carried with the red team in there. And I'm pretty sure he got a lot of respect for me, seeing how I carried as a young dude. You know what I mean? Like I don't be pushing nothing. I ain't one of those big bad dudes that like I can beat everybody. I'm just who I am. So bro was like, nah, I'm saying it like that. He was like, but that's how people be on the street. When people be running with the mob, like they affiliated. You know what I mean? He was like, that's how he is. You know what I mean? So he broke down everything. We had the conversation about it, like more knowledge of the red team stuff was starting to come to my mind. And I started to understand a little more, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like, that's when I started seeing that basically, like, you don't have to be the tough dude. You don't have to be the dude that knows how to fight. You don't have to be the guy that had 1 million bodies on the street, man. Now, don't get me wrong. All that counts if they can find somebody like that, man. But you don't have to have that, y'all. All you need is some freaking brains and a little bit of money, y'all. So boom. I started seeing, I'm like, oh, because you know, you watch the movies and you will see on the movies, everybody's big and bad. Everybody that's on in the red team or blue team, whatever the case, they are big and bad. Like they tough, they crazy, they psychos, they can do this, they do that, they do, you know what I mean? So this is what you think it is now in jail, especially in Virginia. It was different because from that point on, I started seeing how people was bringing cream puffs home. Like, and I started saying like, yo, why would he bring this dude home? But I started understanding after I would sit back and think like, oh, it's about numbers. It's about numbers. Oh, this guy can bring this to the table. Oh, this guy can do this. So that's what it'd be about in there. Oh, like that's what it's about. Like basically, if you bring something to the table, all that big and bad shit, that being tough, I can fight 1 million niggas. That shit don't matter. That shit don't matter, man, to a gang leader that's basically in the joint trying to get some money. That don't matter, man. So, like, after me and my homeboy that was the red team member, me and him had that conversation, I had more knowledge of stuff, man. Like, it just made more sense about how this stuff is being ran. Now, back to Bull. Now, Bull wasn't part of the red team, but he can bring something to the table. Like he was telling me in my cell, he can bring that work to the red team, man. So, like, I ain't even gonna hold y'all, man. It took about a month. It took about a month and some change because I don't know if the red team had a route, but they finally figured it out. And I never asked no questions or nothing. But all I know is Bull and them popped up with the work. And when Bull had to work, my man from Norfolk had to work. The red team was running around pumping the work. And the red team was winning, y'all. I ain't gonna lie, man. You know what I mean? Now, with all this going on, like, you know, dudes like me, another dude from the you know, a few dudes that get money in the joint. Like, we ain't trying to figure out what's going on, but like, you know, we usually be the ones in the block that's winning. So like, when you see the red team winning, like, if to me, I was happy about it. You know what I mean? Because if the red team's happy, that means they're not gonna be trying to like rob people. They're not gonna be trying to extort people. They're not gonna be trying to do all of that. They gotta be winning though. But it takes a certain individual to bring that out. Like, yo, look, put the maniac in the cut and y'all start getting money. That's what we gonna do. So Bull was that guy. Bull actually kind of like brought to the money situation to them, just like he told me in the cell. And they started getting money in the joint. Now, after they started getting money, like you started seeing it. Like, you know what I mean? You started seeing like probably like the first week of consistency of getting money. You started seeing how the red team did it, man. Like they was cool with getting money. They wasn't on no lame shit. Like they was actually slanging and banging the right way. I have to give it to them, man. So like I'll say probably after a little bit of time that went by, man, you looked up and you seen motherfucking Bull in the cell getting jumped. Now I didn't see it when I came back from rec. Dudes told me like, yo, they jumped Bull in just now. I was like, cause you know when they do stuff like that, you will hear about it. Like even though you ain't part of the team, you know what I mean? Dudes will be talking about it in the pod. Like, yeah, the red team just got down, banked the nigga. I guess they jumping them in. Like you'll hear shit like that out of nowhere. So when I come back from rec and I hear that, yo, they just jumped Bull in. I'm like, for real? Like, yeah, they just whooped his ass on in cell 12. So I'm like, damn. So I don't know if they whooped him, but when I looked and seen him, you know what I mean? He didn't look like he was super fucked up. He was standing off in the corner. You know what I mean? He had a little towel on his face, you know what I mean? Like that's what you do. You get your ass whooped. You gotta fight 10 niggas, 5 niggas, I don't know. But after you do that, you win. So I'm looking at Bull, like the way they embracing him, like you can tell that, you know what I mean? He's part of the red team now, y'all. So boom. So yeah, and I'll say like 3 days go by after that ass whooping of him being jumped into the red team. And then he finally seen me. Now he don't gotta come score for me because he got their own little stuff going on. So when I seen him, you know what I mean? It was like, it wasn't awkward, but he knew that conversation he had with me. So I guess he felt like you know what I mean? Like since I done, you know, told bro that I wasn't really interested, I was affiliated and all this stuff, what's going on now? So I know he probably was like, you know what I mean? So I seen him, I'm like, who was over by the water fountain? Like the water fountain got hot water joint. So I was already over there, but he walked up. And when he walked up and seen me, he was like, so, oh, what's up, Weezy? good with you, bro? I was like, chilling, man. What's up? You all right? He was like, yeah. I said, you in now, ain't you? He was like, yeah, I'm in now, man. So as he's saying that, my old homeboy from North of the red team never pull up. He like, yeah, what's up? He was like, hey, Weezy, yeah, now he a real pup. Look at him, Weezy, yeah. My boy was like, yeah, you know what time it is, homie. You know what it be like, homie. Yeah, you know what it be like, homie. Yeah, I took that one. You know what it be like, homie. So my homeboy, that's the red team. He like, yeah. They do the handshake, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I look at Bull trying to get the handshake right. He like, he get it right, you know what I mean? I'm looking like, man, like it takes a lot to be a red team member, man. But my man dip off. So when my man dip off, it's just me and Bull right there. So Bull's still waiting on hot water. So I'm like, man, like, is it any difference? Like, you feel a little better? I was like, oh, you just felt like since you the one in the car getting the money, you had to be the red team member. So I ain't say that loud, but I made sure he was like, he looked over, he was like, go ahead with that, Weezy, man. He was like, nah, it ain't that. He was like, just, you know, like, I feel like bro and them family anyway. So like, you know what I mean? Like, I gotta get money. That's what I did on the street, Weezy. Like, I used to get money and rob. That's what I used to do. So he was like, I gotta get money. So like, I just feel like it's an even exchange that I'm getting money, you know what I mean? So he was like, yeah. So he was like, yeah, bro. He was like, man, look, I'm about to get some dog. He was like, my man about to send me a half a zip of dog food. I'm like, a half a zip? He like, yeah, he about to send me a half a zip of dog food. So bro started getting the dog food. You know what I mean? Like, he started getting the dog food. I ain't even gonna lie. When he started getting the dog food, that took the red team to a whole nother level, y'all. So boom, that first pack he got, that was La, you know what I mean? A little Hardy's chicken, a little bit of D-Block. But this time around, bro said he was getting a half a zip of the D-Block, y'all. That's my word. That's a lot of D-Block. An 8-ball is a lot of D-Block in Penitentiary. A pool shot is a lot of an 8-ball is a lot of D-Block in Penitentiary, man. A Vic is a lot of D-Block in Penitentiary. A half a zip of that stuff, man, that's a lot of work in Penitentiary, y'all. So boom, I promise you, when they popped up with that stuff, that started making me like, how they getting this? You know what I mean? But apparently they had a roller. They had a roller, my word, because they popped up during the weekday, you know what I mean? They started getting at different times. But when they got that D-Block in, man, I promise you, man, they was lit. Red team was lit, man. And the reason why they was lit, man, the whole responsibility of the person that's making them like this, they got them winning, is bro Bull. Bull got it, but like, Bull wasn't one of those dudes that you will see everybody calling his name. That's why I respected him, and me and him kind of had a good eye to eye, kind of like, because you would think that he'll be on fire, everybody calling him, like how I be saying when I be having it. No, nobody called bro. Nobody called bro. And if you come crazy, the red team members gonna crash on you, like, cause they definitely not letting bro mess up the situation. You know what I mean? And so like, Bull used to be in the cut, like he used to be in the cut as a pup. This dude is a pup, man. This dude is a pup, but this dude is responsible for all the narcotics that the red team is getting. The question I was thinking to myself was, how the hell is bro a pup? Bro's supposed to be the leader game, y'all. So boom. I'm just thinking out loud back there. But like, if it was me, that's how I would want it, man. Like, yo, for real, man, I get to cut the line. Straight up, man. I set y'all up. Ain't no way in the world I can still be in punk category. Ain't no way in the world I can still be in punk category, man. Like, I set y'all up. It gotta be some type of perks or something, like, you know what I mean? So for real, like, I felt like that's what bro was doing, but bro didn't do that. Bro stayed in the cut. Bro just kept getting that money, man. He just kept getting the money. He got the dudes running for him. He ain't had to do nothing but get to work. You know what I mean? My homeboy from Norfolk, all the little homies, they was taking care of the business. So they was running the business smooth. The business was running smooth, man, until a nigga fucked the money up. You know what I mean? Until a nigga bucked on the money. Now, everybody be paying the money, especially when it comes to owning the red team. When this one particular old head dude end up bucking on the money, or took forever with the money, I don't know what it is. But when the red team caught that nigga downstairs, man, the red team whooped that nigga ass. And when they whooped his ass, that shit was crazy, because it was like, if you was a smart businessman, you'd be like, yo, whooping him for what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, kind of like, you gonna get the money. But like, you know, the red team thinking like goons, like, yo, we gonna straight whoop ass and ask questions later. So after they whooped the nigga and they came back upstairs, man, I promise you, man, like, not my homeboy from Norfolk. Not my homeboy from Norfolk. Goddamn Bull. And I ain't never seen Bull talk like this. When them niggas came back in the pod, man, Bull had them niggas over by the payphone. And that nigga was like this. He had them niggas lined up. It was 3 homeboys. That nigga was like this. He was like, yeah, y'all niggas dumb as hell. Fuck wrong with y'all? Y'all niggas trying to fuck the money up. Had an investigator down on our ass. Fuck wrong with you, homie? You doing the wrong thing, homie. I looked at my homeboy from Norfolk. He was just standing in the back, like standing behind him, like, you know what I mean? The boy just like, y'all fucking up. Goddamn and I looked at all the young boys. Young boys was looking stupid. You just see boy just going in. Nigga, fuck. Nigga, wrong with y'all? Y'all niggas going in. The whole day I'm thinking that this man look like a real leader game. He like, yeah. Fuck y'all niggas. Y'all niggas gonna move. I tell y'all to move. And that's it. If you don't want to, you get the hell out of here.
Get your money, don't care who judge. Stay out the way. Surround yourself with nothing but love. Stay out the way. If you a gangster, killer or thug. Stay out the way. Put your faith in the man above. Stay out the way. Chill with your family, siblings and blood. Stay out the way. Kick it with your girl, forget hit in the club. Stay out the way. Mind on your money, ain't no switching it up. Stay out the way. Stand out the way. What you thought that it was. Stay out the way. If you stuck down on your luck, not feeling righteous. Did a petty crime, just looking for some excitement. Now your name on affidavits and court indictments. Get paid for a lot, but your freedom is priceless. You did the crime, you do the time, don't let it surprise you. Real stories from the heart, just to open your eyes up.